Borneo, faraway land of mystery and the unknown. Land of amethystine mountains and crystal streams, of stinking swamps and snaky jungles, where every fragrant breeze whispers of beauty and romance, or shrieks grim tales of hair-raising, blood-curdling adventures, ending all too often in death. Borneo, impenetrable abode of the strange orangutans and stranger savage men and their sanguinary women. The seat of recognized but little respected government. Residence of Sir James Brooke, White Raja of Sarawak, on the Kuching River. Kuching, seaport, trading post, shipping point for copra, rubber, sugar, ivory, and millionaire game butchers. The Epicurean taste of the native demands food, not too fresh. The street cafeterias meet this demand more than halfway. Flies are gratis. A suggestion to modern mothers and a boon to small boys. Saturday night ritual in full dress. Borneans have learned to forego bathing in the Kuching River. 20-foot crocodiles with 3-foot serrated jaws are convincing teachers. Introducing Tom Dog and Sandy Kent, adventurers born, traders by preference. Modern apartments have running hot water, raised balconies, plenty of air and light. Few, however, provide fishing from the back porch, as do these village habitats of the River Dayak, Malay et al. Waterways are the highways of Borneo. Overland travel is discouraged by dense tropical undergrowth in the trackless forest. It is our privilege to accompany the intrepid Tom and Sandy upon this, their most momentous trip into the interior. And as we journey through little-known districts and among lesser-known primitive brown folk, have unfolded to us the strangest true story that has ever emanated from this topsy-turvy land, where the incredulous is continually happening, and the seemingly impossible is an everyday occurrence. A native campong or village may harbor within its boundaries a hearty welcome to traders and a willingness to barter and exchange native gleanings for products of the white man. Or it may hold an antipathetic hatred of all non-members of the tribe. Comprehending this, Tom and Sandy approach warily. If smiles are indicative of friendliness, the welcome sign is out. These folks are Dayak, autochthonous in Borneo, and similar in many ways to the Malayo-Polynesians, vitiated by the stifling atmosphere of the tropical forest, decimated by cholera, smallpox, dysentery, and fevers. They lead a nomadic existence, attached above all to their strange and brutal customs. The telegraph, telephone, and radio of the Dayak, and just as efficient. These huge drums transmit messages over long distances and with uncanny accuracy. But the code they employ has never been deciphered by white men. and Sandys traveling 5 and 10. They too found the $1 million beetle. Glass beads to these unsophisticated people are precious as diamonds. Salt, worth its weight in gold. An empty can or bottle, more highly prized than a gem-studded jewel case. Me too, white man. The witch doctor, or menag, contemporaneous with modern medica and surgery, attempts to heal the sick child by sucking and plucking out the diseased demons from her body. The wild, muttering incantations in Bassa Sangyang, the voice of the spirit. Confident his foul imprecations will frighten away the devils that have caused the illness. Strange as it may seem, the patient, in spite of the treatment, sometimes recovers. Dayak women, not unlike their white sisters, perform the customary wifely duties, preparation of meals and their constituents, rearing children by the efficacious method of letting them raise themselves, fashioning a new box sarong when the old one becomes so dirty it must be thrown away, and nagging at lazy hubby until he, goaded to desperation, takes his blowgun and sallies forth to shoot something. Maybe a neighbor. Social prestige among the men is reckoned by the number of enemies' heads they have acquired. And no self-respecting Dayak maid would consider accepting a suitor who has not one or more of these grisly trophies to his credit. Afternoon panning beads, with plenty of dirt, figurative and literal, being tossed about. Even Dayak women are headhunters. For pastime, the white woman may choose golf. The Dayak woman choose betel nut and the rag. Cosmetic manufacturers, take note of those ruby red lips. Material for the follies and scandal. Uh-oh, fire. No, it's the wrestling match. Wrong again. It's a dog. And what a dog. The celebration in honor of our trader's visit continues far into the night, and they sit with the sages of the tribe around a pungent campfire and listen, while these vicious old hunters of human heads boast of daring, brutality, merciless lust, and depravity, with the sanguine of a parlor raconteur. They brag of special occasions when the whole tribe, having submitted to essentially religious ordeals of fasting and abstinence, and having undergone purification, departs in quest of its horrible tribe. Then a new story breaks through, a tale of yet more savage people further inland, of a tribe so depraved, so low in the human scale, these callous old narrators fear and shun. No man who went in there has returned. None save the drum has told the grim tale of torture and death to the intruder. And strangest of all, the tribe is ruled by a white woman. That is enough for Tom and Sandy. They immediately negotiate for men to take their launch the long riverway round, while they, by raft, travel a much shorter route through the jungle swamp. Here is adventure, mystery to be solved, thrills to be enjoyed, trade to be accomplished. Every reason to go further, none to go back. Sandy, chubby, stolid, phlegmatic, cannot share the enthusiasm of the more agile, younger, boyishly exuberant Tom. But where Tom goes, Sandy follows. Both will come back. Or neither. Steaming, humid heat. Heated miasmic decay. Reptiles in the hot water beneath the raft and upon the vapor-steeped branches above it. The upper space, long sweeps to ward off tangled undergrowth, continuous chants propitiate the jungle demon. Deeper and deeper, tortuous mile after mile, day after day, to a stillness that is never quiet, monotony that is ever changing, unseen dangers lurking everywhere. Nature dozing, yet vibrantly alert, ever ready to take up the interminable struggle to survive. Every fiber poised for the kill that enables all jungle creatures to live. People. Journey's end. Adventitious beginning. Tom and Sandy, inwardly trembling with warranted apprehension, take refuge behind the white trader's most formidable weapon, indifference. At any moment, a poisoned arrow or dart may mean the end of the world to either of them. And they know it. But no power on earth can make them show they know it. Destiny's cradle. Push on, white men. Eyes front. Don't let these brown men suspect. Such stuff our heroes made. This is easy. Everything looks okay so far. Spears are silly things, are they not? The women are friendly. Good sign. Not so bad, fellows. Not so bad. Not so good. Unknowingly, Tom and Sandy have violated the Skull House taboo, and that means death. Is there a way out? Apparently not. Nothing left but to put on a bold front. White men die bravely, gracefully, Executioners must never witness the qualms and fears of the condemned. Menacing glances, inherent hatred of the will of a superior race makes the savage doubly dangerous. Being fed is no reason for encouragement, especially among cannibalistic tribes. Nothing to do but await the jury's verdict. Unfriendly faces all about them gave them little encouragement. A decision has been reached. Tradition, you know. In the skull house, the air is stifling and reeks with the odor of unwashed bodies and the acrid smoke from a smoldering wood fire. Then suddenly,
Joragan Musti Jadi Sudara Dara dari Orang Dayak.
Can this be the...
Nanti boleh kasih ampun sama Joragan.
The authoritative voice lends new hope. The command may not have unanimous endorsement, but it betokens obeyance. Ritual of the flame. To Tom and Sandy, a lot of hocus pocus. To the natives, a sacred ceremonial rite. To the white men, a new lease on life. To the brown men, alleviation of the superstitious fears, lest the defilement of their temples bring down upon their heads the wrath of pagan gods. Blood alone is the only fitting drink in which may be pledged the white men's vows to become brothers of these savage, ignorant, fanatical jungle folk. Not pleasant, Sandy, but you can still taste. And Tom Dawes, Yankee, and Sandy Kent, Scott, are now blood brothers. Neither Tom nor Sandy are prepared for the vision of loveliness that greets them. But can they quite comprehend her being here? demented creature groveling at her feet. But this is Borneo, where the impossible always happens, where fancy scoffs at, and ignorance gives the lie to intellectuality. Ceremonies finished with dancing, a never-ending diversion for people whose craving for amusement is unsatiable. The tiger dance, more meaning than the jungle. Regalia may now mingle freely with these men of her own color. Are they not members of the tribe? Her womanly intuition senses the attraction she holds for the tall young American, and her natural guilelessness finds no harm in making herself to him even more alluring. Enchanted with this lovely flower of the jungle, and impatiently awaits an opportunity to talk to her, to learn why she is here, from whence she came. Will she leave? Who is she? And many other questions impetuous young lovers must have answered. Clouds may gather, cloudbursts may flood the land, but Tom knows not, hears not, sees not, but his charm. From her he will learn all he cares to know about her, and that will be all she knows about herself. You and I, rank outsiders, must be content with as much or as little as they may want us to learn. Dari mana kue datang?
Saya tidak mengerti kue. Orang tua ini. Saya pergi mui. Saya kasih tahu. Saya Inyaah. Banyak tahun kembali, saya punya orang.
I am Inyaah. My name is Inyaah. I came to Borneo with my parents from Russia when I was very small. My father had a rubber plantation far away from here, near the village of Pontianak, and we lived close by. My mother was contented in our tiny two-room home, and I was happy with my pets. A favorite was my little black Wawa. I remember him so well. and how he hated water. He would whine and cry whenever my father gave him a bath. And afterwards, for hours, he would be the saddest little Wawa in all Borneo. There then. But near us lived a man by the name of Slade. Slade was much older than my father and a terrible drunkard. He lived with his native woman and native boys, always surly and cross. He was not liked by the white planters, nor welcome in their home. But one day, he came by our house on his way to the tavern for more liquor. Why he wanted more, I cannot understand, for he was drunk then. Tried to be friendly to him, as he was to everyone who called. But when he insulted my mother... awful threat he hurled back at us as he and his boys continued on their way. But my father thought little of them and considered them but the cowardly boasts of a bully. He assured my mother and I there was nothing to fear, and, leaving us alone, as he did every day, he went about his work gathering rubber. was beastly drunk, and I was terribly afraid. I think my mother was, too. But she was a brave woman and would not let Slade know she feared him. And then it all happened so quickly. And my mother was condemned to a fate worse than death, all because of the drunken Slade and his cowardly native boy. For my home and my pet and my mother. My mother acted so strangely. She cried and cried for days until at last the spirits took her mind away. Stare, or talk to my father, whom she alone could see. All this time, no one paid any attention to me, and I ran wild, like a little animal. Then, one day, after Slade had grown tired of her, my mother saw her chance. But anything was better than being in Slade's house. We had not gone far away, and every day my mother trailed Slade and watched him, all the time cunningly planning some way to make him pay for the murder of my father. It was while stealthily watching him from a hiding place close by the cabin that an idea suddenly came to her. She saw how the snake charmer's gourd flute affected the cobras, and she reasoned that if snakes responded to its music, the large animals of the jungle could be made to do so too. And if they would, there was some way to use them against Slade. Then she saw that the music annoyed Slade. She saw him go into a terrible rage. Was a double-edged weapon which she could use to strike at Slade and secure her revenge. Making a flute of her own. She spent hours learning to play. And when she played, many of the wild beasts of the jungle watched her and listened. At first from a distance, but soon they became bolder and drew nearer. With her flute, she would lure the animals to places where Slade and his boys could be found, and let their natural instinct do the rest. For many days, she sat beside a pool not far from Slade's house and played until she coaxed Sorry, the old one, to come there and live among others of his kind. Her twisted mind held but one clear thought: revenge. My mother knew that crocodiles do not like native boys, and she also knew that once every moon, one of Slade's boys came to that pool to wash his dirty clothes. I think the hideous old fellow really enjoyed the music, although he never showed any friendliness, nor would he come very near. Now, Slade's boys were as lazy as he was, and neither could see any reason for washing clothes. But his native woman, after much quarreling with him, could sometimes get him to allow the boy to do as she wanted. soft-footed one, became very fond of my mother and was her constant companion wherever she went. Day after day, she haunted the trail Slade and his boys used, and the tiger, always at her side, came to understand they were her enemies. Slade was certain when his boy failed to return from the pool that he had been slain. After that, he would allow none of his boys to go anywhere alone. And on frequent trips to the tavern for more liquor, Ramu, the ever-willing avenger, impatiently awaited the moment when my mother would give him the command to strike. At last, everything was in readiness. My mother again rejoiced, while Slade, when his boys brought him the slain one, was mortally afraid. Among our jungle friends, there was a family of orangutans. The baby was my playmate. His mother would sit in a tree by the hour and keep watch, while Rang Kang and I played below, or while he amused me with his funny capers. Mother always tried to keep him near her, for she was so strong that the other animals feared her and would not molest him if she were near. But in spite of her, he would sometimes steal off by himself, and then he was sure to get into trouble. Playmate that time. Luckily, Rangtang was too quick for the big snake. But he was a badly scared baby and was careful to keep well away from his pursuer, who was very angry at having lost his meal. Sincerely happy when he heard the song of the flute, for he knew that with my mother he would be safe from the big one. She was protected by the music that charmed all jungle creatures, large and small. With only Slade and one boy left of the four who had killed my father, my mother now thought of nothing but to complete her revenge. She could not make friends with the big ones, for the snakes have no friends. Every living creature is their enemy and their prey. But if she could lure them to Slade's house, she could hope to accomplish her purpose. Patiently she worked with them. Hour after hour she played, and fascinated by the drone of the flute, they followed her, as step by step she drew them nearer and yet nearer to where the drunken Slade lay trembling, in fear of the doom he knew would someday overtake him. But little he suspected that the fate he so justly deserved was being brought to him by the woman he had ruined. Tirelessly she lured the big ones on, one from here, another from there, and all trails leading to the home of my father's murderers. Slade had not seen my mother since she left him, nor did he in any way connect her with the mysterious disappearance of one and the slaying of another of his boys. Suddenly he realizes that both disasters had been preceded by the music of the gourd flute, the same one whose incessant whine was now tormenting his drink-crazed brain until he could stand it no longer. His tortured mind demands that it be stopped, whatever the cost. And the boy was sent into the jungle to do the bidding of his cowardly white master. Rushes in to tell Slade that another of his boys has been slain. All of his fellow killers have now paid for the cowardly slaying of a brave father and the merciless persecution of a devoted mother, and only Slade is left. And the flute drones on, now closer. Slade is afraid, terribly afraid of the unknown, afraid of his own conscience. Now the maddening tormentor is close upon him, right there before him, taunting him, searing his brain like fire. Now he can see it. It is real. It's just a woman. He'll show her. then something snaps within him. And Slade's mind is like my mother's. Frantically, he tries to run away from himself. My mother has her helpers all in their places now, ready to serve her. When she sees the fear-crazed Slade stagger into the trap she has so cunningly laid for him, her happiness is great, for her ceaseless determination to avenge the death of the man she loved, as well as her own disgrace and suffering, is about to be rewarded. Blindly, Slade rushes on, but one of the big ones lies in wait. In the cold stare of its beady eyes, he reads his doom. He turns back, another one waiting there. Turn where he will, there is no escape, for my mother has done her work well, and a wall of cold-blooded dealers of horrible death completely surrounds him. Desperately, he thrashes about, frantically seeking an opening that may lead to freedom. Then Slade, the murderer, hey!
Is past. Inyaah, in the sunshine of youth, will soon forget. But dark clouds of tragedy will ever dim the mind of the little Russian mother who fought so valiantly and lost. All nature's children are again gay. Inyaah, too, is blissfully happy in a newfound joy. The glorious thrill of first love for the tall stranger from another world, from her world. In fancy, she envisions the beautiful picture he has painted for her, the wonders and glories of his land, far away. Of the land to which he returned his partner and friend, Sandy. And he would persuade his beloved Inyaah to go there too, where she may have and enjoy her birthright, the pleasure and luxury of a more nearly civilized race. And Inyaah's lonely heart yearns to go with him. But there is no place out there for the afflicted mother. Better far she remain in the jungle, where neither cages nor bars restrain even the least of God's creatures. Inyaah may be freed of the filial bond which holds her there. But until that day comes, she chooses to remain where we found her, in the heart of Borneo. And where, when Tom returns, and he assures us he will return, he will find awaiting him, ever faithfully preserving the vows they had made each other. His lovely young flower, Inyaah.